that's with every NFL offseason. We got new faces and new places. We got head coaches on new teams who've never coached before. We got head coaches on places that they've coached before. All this stuff's going on. You got coaches of the year and new teams with Mike Vrabel in New England. It is a crazy time. Pete Carroll's in Las Vegas, for God's sakes. But you know what? We also got quarterbacks in new places as well. And Matt, I know for a fact that you got a quarterback you want to talk about who's got a lot riding on this season. And I want to let you tell everyone who it is.
Sam Darnold, who are you, buddy? Who are you, Sam Darnold? Who do you really want to be as an NFL quarterback? Are you the Jets Sam Darnold, who was seeing ghosts and throwing picks every other throw? Or are you the Vikings Sam Darnold, that despite a weak finish to the season, through 16 games last year, looked like an MVP candidate and played like a top 5 quarterback last year? So which one are you? And now, this year, he's in a much different situation. Now, is it a worse situation? Maybe a little bit, but I'm not so sure. I really like the situation for the Seattle Seahawks coming up here in 2025. I like Clint Kubiak. He's the offensive coordinator. I think he's a future head coach. He's got the McVay-Shanahan scheme, the wide zone, the lots of motions, the misdirections, the balanced offense. Maybe it's not as good as McVay and Shanahan, but he's got a similar style of play, and he's going to have a very similar offense. And they built their personnel around that. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba, and now you got Cooper Kupp to take care of those inside, short and intermediate routes. And they also signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and that's not a great signing, but again, he's fast. He can hold those safeties a little bit back and let those 2 inside receivers work a little bit. And you also got Torrey Horton in the 5th round as well. I like that value out of Colorado State. He was a really nice selection that was projected to potentially be a 3rd round wide receiver. So wide receiver room's got some depth. And then at tight end, you also got Elijah Arroyo in the 2nd round as well to pair with Noah Fant. You got a really, really good tight end room there in Seattle as well. And I think you got a really good running back room with Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, and now you got Damian Martinez in there as well, the 7th round pick out of the University of Miami. So really good running back room. And then you address the offensive line that was very bad last year, but you get Gray Zabel in round 1, one of my favorite picks in the entire draft. You got Charles Cross, who's been really good at tackle. Still some concerns on that offensive line unit as well. Abraham Lucas needs to have a bounce back year. But again, I think they improved that offensive line unit as well. And then this defense, man, I'm telling you, this Seattle Seahawks defense, watch out. This could be a special unit next year, okay? You get DeMarcus Lawrence in the offseason to pair with Leonard Williams. You got Byron Murphy. You got Jaron Reed. And you got some solid linebackers and rushers in there as well. And the secondary, Reek Woolen, Devon Weatherspoon, Kobe Bryant, Nika Manwari, Julian Love. That could be one of the best secondaries in the NFL. And then you add Jalen Milroe as well in the draft, who can be used in certain packages as well. Obviously, you could use him in wildcat packages, running around a little bit to kind of supplement Sam Darnold. And then he's also there like, hey, Sam Darnold, you better perform because we have Jalen Milroe waiting in the wings. So, and again, Darnold's basically on a 1-year deal. If you saw how the contract is structured, he's basically on a 1-year deal. So he has to perform this year or else they're going to Jalen Milroe. So I'm expecting a really solid season from Sam Darnold this year. And I think the Seahawks could make a run at this NFC West. That's a hot take. I think they could potentially make a run at this NFC West. I think it's a good roster. I think Mike McDonald is a good coach, and I'm expecting a good year out of Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold, who are you, buddy? Are you going to be the Jets Sam Darnold, or are you going to be the Vikings Sam Darnold? That's one of the new faces that I'm looking forward to seeing this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, he's got a lot of pressure on him. That people have been raving about Jalen Milroe's work ethic, sort of his progression as he's started to work on some of the finer tuned portions of being a quarterback. Quarterbacks out of Alabama haven't always succeeded. The most notable one that we can talk about that's really had a successful journey. And I'm not going to say Jalen Hurts because he finished in Oklahoma. I'm going to say Tua Tagovailoa. And so that's the top level of Alabama quarterback you have in the NFL. So Jalen Milroe is working on those things, but he's putting pressure on Sam Darnold already, and we're already hearing stories coming out of Seattle that he's really showing that he's going to see the field this year, even if it's in some sort of wildcat or special package, because of his athleticism and his skill set. So to your point, Sam Darnold's got to be there, but I'm going to go with another former Jet who was written off and didn't write back. I'm going with Geno Smith in down in Las Vegas. I think that the stories coming out of Las Vegas, Geno Smith, according to Chip Kelly, they're raving about Geno Smith down there right now. This is probably the best quarterback they've had in a Raiders uniform. Probably since the early 2000s, honestly. All right, I mean, like like Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
Like this is the best quarterback they've had in a hot minute, right? Even Derek Carr, if he had some decent stats, but when it came down to winning, that wasn't his thing. He didn't win a lot. He's probably the people have called him the best bag getter of any quarterback who didn't have an above 500 record in the NFL. So, you talk about Geno Smith and what he brings to an offense, and we saw him, what he was able to do in Seattle when no one really thought he was going to be able to do anything under Pete Carroll, when he got his chance to start once Russell Wilson was out of there and went to Denver. You saw Geno Smith revitalize who he was. He's back under Pete Carroll. He's got an offensive coordinator. And Chip Kelly has ran really good offenses in the NFL. We've seen him be dynamic, and now they've got some bona fide weapons on that team. You had 2,000-yard guys last year in Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. You add a guy who almost ran for 3,000 yards in the draft in Ashton Genty. And then you get some sort of, high upside rookies and wide receiver and Jack Beck and Dante Thornton Jr., who I'm a big fan of Dante Thornton Jr. You guys know I am. I love this guy. I think that, if he had been healthy, we would have been talking about him significantly higher up draft boards just because he's an athletic freak through and through. I think that you combine those guys with Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers. They brought in a veteran running back, Raheem Mostert. I like this offense for Geno Smith, and I think he's set up to succeed. Now, the Raiders are in a very loaded division. This division could have at least three teams in the playoffs this year between the Denver Broncos, Kansas City Chiefs, and the San Diego Chargers. Or, my bad. Still, I'm old, people. I'm old. The Los Angeles Chargers in the playoffs. Could the Raiders could this be the AFC's version of the NFC North, where possibly if Geno Smith's able to really ball out, all four teams make the playoffs? I mean, they have the capability. There's enough on here, and we've seen Pete Carroll overachieve with lackluster rosters. I mean, realistically, for time and time again, Geno Smith made the Seattle Seahawks playoff contenders when realistically you looked at the roster and the other teams in the NFC West, they really had no business competing with them at that time. And they were still consistently in the conversation in that division. So Geno Smith is a bona fide winner. I think that I like him there in Vegas. I like this thing. But it's just like you said, who are you going to be, Geno? Who are you going to be? That's what it's all going to come down to. So I'm a big Geno Smith believer, and I know you're hating on me for my Raiders talk because
you called him a bona fide winner, bro. It's been like 3 seasons, bro. Like what? What are you talking about?
When healthy, he has performed. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards. He's a good quarterback. He's shown he's good. Right. Did anyone expect him to do those things?
No, but I would say calling him a bona fide winner is a little nuts. Is my opinion.
Yeah, they won 10 games last year. So to your point, and they've had a couple of successful seasons with him in Seattle for sure. But I don't think his resume screams bona fide winner. Like coming from the Jets and then sitting for 5 years and then or however many years he sat for, and then coming to Seattle, and I think they made one playoffs and then missed a couple years. So I don't know if he's a bona fide winner, but I do agree. I like Geno Smith as well. He's a really good
I like him too. Look, if he succeeds this year with the Raiders, with that roster, I will have nothing to say about him being a bona fide winner, okay? I will put my hands up and I will
especially like you mentioned, Joe, in that division, if they can win 8 or 9, 10 games, okay, Geno Smith, you're a bona fide winner.
If they can win 8 games, I'll be impressed, yes.
That division is a gauntlet in the AFC West. So yeah.
It's the little Chiefs.
I'm just saying, the Chiefs, they came down a little bit last year. They're showing some kinks in the armor. You know what I mean?
They were
how many years have we been saying this again, ladies and gentlemen? Enough. How many times have you said this?
I got 15 games and we're in the Super Bowl. I don't know if that's a chink in the armor.
Oh man! Oh boy! Oh man! I'm sure when the Patriots started off the year 3-4 one season, it's over for them next year. Yeah, chink in the armor.
Was how that one went there, Sammy. But I had an ex-Jets quarterback. Matt had an ex-Jets quarterback. There's no other ex-Jets quarterback for Sammy to pick, so he's got to go off. He's got to go off the landscape now. We're going off.
Aaron Rodgers.
He might not get signed. He was
and he's not anyway.
Remember? There's no prestige saying Jets quarterback by any means. Okay, there is none.
It's in the darkness.
In the darkness, jeez.
It's making friends with it.
You know who's going to be in the darkness if they don't win this year? Ben Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Ben Johnson is the highest paid first-time head coach in NFL history. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, Ben Johnson, you're going to progress, right? We hope you guys improve. I'm sorry, no. It's not enough to just improve. I don't think so, no. Not with this offense, no. And I know what everybody's thinking. Hey, what if the defense sucks? It's not his fault. Who hired him? Who hired the defensive coordinator? Ben Johnson did. So, look, for the record, I understand people are saying, oh, the Bears need to just improve. And I get that, but granted, if you're the highest paid first-time head coach, respectfully, you don't have really time to just improve. We need to see immediate success. And what does immediate success look like? I don't think you necessarily have to make the playoffs, but when was the last time you were in a playoff race? It feels like it's been a long time. I would like for you to be in the run for a playoff spot. I would like for you to be competitive against some of these big dog teams in the NFC. I would like for you to really grow Caleb Williams and have him turn into the top 10 QB that we all are anticipating for him to be. I understand. Look, first-year head coaches usually don't get this much pressure. But this right here says he's making, $13 million. Okay, $13 million. Do you know that's tied for the 7th in the entire National Football League? You want to know something, ladies and gentlemen? He's making more money than his former boss, Dan Campbell. He's making more money than him. What is this? How is it? Sean McDermott? You know how many times Sean McDermott has been to the AFC Championship game? He's not even getting paid that money. Dan Quinn just went to the NFC Championship game. He's not getting that kind of money. Nick Sirianni won the Super Bowl. He's not getting that kind of money. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not enough to just improve. He needs to win. He needs to win, and he needs to win immediately. I know the Chicago Bears are this terrible organization. I know the Chicago Bears are look, they have bad juju around them, okay? They do. They haven't won a Super Bowl since like 1985. They don't even have a successful QB in their history, in their rich history, okay? The bottom line is we're done waiting. You have your generational QB. You have your head coach. You have the weapons. The offensive line on paper looks a lot better. I need you to win games. I need you to win football games. I don't think it's a win. I don't think this is a successful season if you don't go over 500 at the very least, or like at least make the playoffs.
Speaking of, real quick, you said on paper, Sammy. Speaking of on paper, can you hold that notebook up again? That notebook looked like it was like.
What are you talking about?
It looked huge when you held it up.
You guys think I mess around when I make these? You guys think I mess around when I do these videos, man? Like,
just when you just how you held it up looked like there was like a poster in front of you. Like it looked huge. I don't know. I was like, what is
he wrote in Sharpie? You know, like more money than all these people.
He makes a lot. Yeah.
It's just
in big letters.
Bro,
it's just a drawing of Conor McGregor. My checks are big.
Look, man. Look,
crazy.
Ben Johnson makes a lot of money. Okay, he makes way too much money. And if the standard, and if you're paying this guy this much money, the standard cannot be, okay, hope you improve a little bit. You know, we're gonna take the training wheels off halfway through. No. We're not doing that here, okay? If you want to be excellent, just be excellent. You didn't pay this guy for no reason, okay? Clearly you have belief in him. If he's not successful in his first year, I'm not saying he should be in the hot seat or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I think it would be a terrible thing for after 1 year for him to be in the hot seat. But we can call his year a failure if he finishes under 500. If they're not competing for a playoff spot, we can call it a failure. Now, year 2 is different. So, go ahead, man.
Well, I mean, real quick to your point, Sammy, like guys who are talked about as like generational offensive minds, like Ben Johnson is, you know, guys like Sean McVay, guys like Andy Reid. People talk about Ben Johnson like he's in that conversation, combined with someone like Caleb Williams, who was talked about as a generational quarterback talent. Those guys combined together don't miss the playoffs. Like teams who have that, regardless if their defense isn't the best or not, don't miss the playoffs. You know, so again, like you mentioned, there's a ton of pressure on Ben Johnson to come in right away and make this team at least a playoff caliber team. Like you mentioned, they should be in that 9-10 win mix at least. You know, potentially making a wild card berth. And if they're not, you know, there's going to be hell to pay for either Caleb Williams, or Ben Johnson, or probably both. So I like that pick a lot, Sammy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I'll be honest with you. If there's a game I'm watching, it's September 14th, Bears Lions. I'm watching that game at noon. And you know, to your point, like there will be people that if they start this season 0-3, you know, again they got Vikings, Lions, Cowboys. If they start 0-3 heading into Las Vegas or to welcome the Raiders, and then they go back and face the Washington Commanders, there's going to be questions on whether or not they overpaid him, right? That's their first 4 games. Vikings, Lions, Cowboys, Raiders, Commanders.
That's tough.
That's who they face, and then they go Saints, Ravens, Bengals, Giants.
Hold on, let me check the rest
Yeah,
of
so
schedules.
he's got granted, week 1 Vikings, you're getting JJ McCarthy's first game. You lose to JJ McCarthy.
Hell of a roster and hell of a coach over there, though. So
Yeah.
I'm not counting them out as far as the Vikings go.
Then you go against your old head coach Dan Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Cowboys. Not expecting much from the Cowboys, but you never know. You got Geno Smith and the Raiders, and then you go face the NFC runner-up Washington Commanders. That is you. If you don't win at least 3 of those games,
if they don't win against the Raiders, the Cowboys, or the Vikings, if they don't win those games, I think there's like some concern. I think there's
and then honestly, Bears fans already have them circled, and I guarantee you they want to write a W here. December 7th and December 20th, Green Bay Packers games.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they always
Bears fans always circle those games. If Ben Johnson's going to win, if there are 2 games that are must wins for Ben Johnson, it's against the Packers. That's all I'm saying. So, and I want to say something to Sammy's point. You can call it a failure. We're not going to say he's on the hot seat. I guarantee you that if this thing goes bad, there will be talking heads talking about Ben Johnson on the hot seat.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. No, we've seen it. We see it all the time. I mean, Brian Daboll had come off of like overachieving with the Giants. Next year, a disastrous season. All of a sudden, hot seat. Nick Sirianni went to the Super Bowl. The following year, they disappointed. Nick Sirianni, you're on the hot seat, buddy. And then
I was trying to fire him for Belichick.
Yeah,
I thought they should have fired Sirianni and brought in Belichick.
Yeah,
it shows how quickly things can change in the NFL, like you talked about, Sammy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I don't think it's going to get that bad in Chicago. This team is just too talented. This head coach is apparently too good. So it needs to look Chicago. If the expectations are just to improve, the expectations are wrong. The expectations need to be to win. Okay, you can't just go to this division again. I know it's a tough division. It's the NFC North, but you can't. You've been the little brother for so long. Aren't you tired? Don't you want to win? Finally, for the first time in a long, long time. Don't you want to? All those years of Aaron Rodgers sunning you, don't you want something to change? For the love of God, please, don't accept mediocrity. Go out, accept change, expect change, and if it doesn't happen, maybe the Bears got the wrong guy.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.